Electric cars are the future.
And combustion cars are the present.
But if you're not ready to jump into the future just yet, you might want one of these. This is the BMW X3 xDrive 30e. It's a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle, which is exactly what it sounds like. A hybrid that sits between a full electric car and a regular petrol car. This is where you put the electricity in.
And this is where you put the petrol in. Now, you can find that stuff pretty much everywhere, so you know you're always good to go.
And that means you essentially have two cars in one. An electric car for zero tailpipe emissions motoring and a petrol car for just in case.
Right, and we're going to find out three things today. Why bother with having two cars in one? Does this technology actually work? And if it does work, does it actually make sense?
Right.
To find out, I think it's time for a little head-to-head. This is a BMW X3 xDrive 30i X-Line. It's your quintessential German premium SUV. It's spacious, nice to drive, and full of connected features. It's one of BMW's best sellers. And notice that unlike with the plug-in X3, there's no filler cap and no charging port here. This is still your classic petrol-only car that still rules the roads today. But to find out how this compares to the plug-in hybrid X3, we're gonna go for a little drive. Let's go. We are going on a loop of Singapore. We'll mix traffic conditions and cover more than 40 kilometers, which is pretty much the distance that the average driver travels here every single day, with a couple of simple rules to follow. Okay, rule number one, I'm going to be setting the pace in this petrol X3, and Darren's going to be following behind in the plug-in X3. And he's going to kind of go at the same pace I'm going, just to make sure he doesn't drive stupid slow to try and save battery power. I mean, Darren might not be much to look at, but he's insanely competitive and surprisingly cunning.
I'll get you one day, Julian. You mark my words.
Rule number two, we're going to set the air conditioning to 25 degrees. Now, climate control uses a lot of energy, so just to be safe and just to be fair, we're going to run this challenge at the same temperature. So here we go, 25 degrees.
Alright, everybody knows I always play by the rules, so I'm going to set the temperature to 25 degrees and then going to check something else. Hey, BMW!
Hello, what can I help you with?
Is my tyre pressure okay?
The current pressure is all right for all tyres.
Alright, so another advantage over Julian there, and that was BMW's Intelligent Personal Assistant. It's a way of controlling the various functions inside the car without using your hands at all, only your voice. And it also ensures that there's an intelligent creature inside the car, even if Julian is the only one driving.
Did it again, I played with your heart.
Now, there are a few ways to drive a plug-in hybrid. You could set it to act like a full EV all the time, or you could put it into auto e-drive mode, which is what I'm doing right now, and let the car decide when to use electric power, when to use petrol power, or when to use both. But you're probably also wondering, how exactly does a plug-in hybrid work? Well, it's something like this.
Imagine Darren over here has an electric motor and pretend that this bottle of water is his battery. It's clean, cheap, and refreshing, and it'll last him pretty much all day. Now, Julian over here is a petrol engine. Let's pretend this bottle of tasty ethanol is his supply of petrol. Wait, on second thought, this is a car channel. So let's pretend to supply fuel is a bottle of milk. Now, there's a lot of energy in milk, so with this bottle, our petrol engine can do lots of work for a long time, maybe a week or two. But it's much more expensive than plain water, and it gives him terrible gas that fouls up the air. If you can find an electricity supply for your car every day, then you're better off using that to power the motor. It's cheaper and cleaner. But on days when you need to travel a long way, or if you can't find a place to charge, then you can return to good old-fashioned petrol. You'll never get stranded. Of course, both power sources can work together when you want maximum performance, which is why the plug-in X3 is actually more powerful and faster than the petrol one we're driving.
Let's not discount good old-fashioned petrol power yet though. I mean, over the years, car makers have been working insanely hard to make their engines more efficient. And now we've got features like this Eco Pro driving mode, which does all the work for you. I mean, when you engage that, it calms the engine down and it changes how the gearbox behaves and it alters the climate control. So even in heavy start-stop traffic like the kind we have in Singapore, I'm guessing this BMW might turn out to be surprisingly efficient.
So we did our lap of Singapore and we're letting each car's trip computer tell us exactly how much or how little fuel we used on our drive. And it's time to see just how the plug-in fared against the petrol X3.
Right, so after all that, we covered 42 kilometers, and according to the trip computer, I got 7.2 liters per 100 kilometers.
Wow.
Which is pretty much spot on what BMW claims for this car, and I think
Right.
it's pretty good. It's more than 13 kilometers per liter. Yeah, not too bad if you ask me.
I say wow, but ha, because this car got 0.3 liters per 100.
Wait,
0.3, which is 333 kilometers on 1 liter of petrol.
Okay, I don't see how that's possible. We drove at the same speed,
Yeah.
and you actually have the faster and more powerful car here. Yeah, so that's pretty
And
impressive.
you used 20 times more petrol than I did. But of course, that's because I used most of the battery on this plug-in.
Okay.
And that is exactly how plug-ins work, right? Yeah.
Okay, so we proved that the technology does work, I guess, but
We
does
did.
it make sense though?
Yeah. In Singapore, it definitely does. Now, if an average Singaporean driver got the same mileage today, they would only have to put petrol in the car 3 times in the whole year of driving.
Okay, 3 times a year, but
Yep.
that assumes every day was like today, and you have to charge the car
Yeah,
every day.
you need somewhere to charge the car, obviously. But in terms of price, this car with all this technology doesn't cost that much more than that car.
Okay, so potentially some savings at the pumps there.
Exactly.
But what about things like, saving the earth and all?
Right, so if you're worried about your carbon footprint and you don't want to go to a full EV, this is the kind of car that you should buy right now. It offers you the best of both worlds.
Okay, so yeah, we talked about it being 2 cars in one, but best of both worlds. You get an electric car for the city, it's
Yep.
quiet and efficient, and you still have combustion power for when you want to go beyond the city.
Exactly,
Best of both
yeah,
worlds.
yeah, best of both worlds. And I'd like to thank you guys for watching the worst of both worlds right here. And if you liked the video, please share it, please subscribe to our channel as well, and stay tuned for more next time. Thanks for watching again.